So let's dig a little deeper into this conversation. This important conversation of the words we tell ourselves, the lies we believe, the negative self-talk that I truly believe is holding us back from who we're meant to be and the work we're supposed to do in this world, the really important, purposeful work that we all, every single one of us, are here to do in this world. So I just wanted to dig deeper into this because this conversation is such an important one, but there's so many layers to it, right? There's so many layers. There's the conscious layer where we're aware of what we're saying about ourselves negatively. There's the subconscious that is really what I was talking about when we use words like, oh, I don't know if I could commit to that, or, oh, I think I'm going to pass on that relationship or that opportunity because, I don't want the pressure, or I see too many conflicts, or what, fill in the blank, right? Those subconscious ways that we are quitting on ourselves, that we are not allowing ourselves to go all in to see what's underneath that, right? So in other words, like taking the easy way out, right? And I get it, like, especially if you at this point in your life have had some evidence of making bad choices, right? And things that you've maybe regret in your life, or things that, gosh, I wish I didn't say that, or I wish that didn't come out that way, or I wish I didn't do that. And those slow sort of punches that we put on ourselves slowly makes us just be more and more silent, right? And lose our voice and lose our truth and really get out of alignment with our path. And I am, so guilty of this. I mean, gosh, I think the worst sort of thought for me at this point as a 50-year-old single mom to 3 kids is, please don't let me do something I'm going to regret. Like, that pain would be too much for me to take. At least that's what my brain tells me, okay? My brain tells me that. My brain tells me that is too much pain. I cannot take it. I cannot go through with it, and I'll just die. Like, that's kind of what the brain is sending, So in order to protect ourselves, we stay small, and we come up with an excuse or some sort of lie that we tell ourselves to get out of doing uncomfortable things. But here's what I've learned, for whatever it's worth. And staying comfortable is just as painful. Truly, it's just as painful. If I really think about it, it's just as painful as if I made a decision that I regretted. Staying comfortable is more painful to me. So with that realization, with that understanding, I give myself that permission to fail and make a bad choice or make a bad decision, but always like following that intuition, right? Following that heart and trying to stay out of my head, And for me, guys, you have to almost choose your thoughts the same way you would choose putting clothes on every day. Like, it's that important. Choosing your thoughts is that important. And I would argue that the greatest sort of tragedy is living that untold story, or, having an untold story within you that you didn't get to live out. And I think, Maya Angelou, I think she has a very famous quote about this. And I think it goes something like, there is no greater agony than bearing an unspoken story within you, or something along those lines. But anyway, I really do believe that. And I think that the number one thing that us human beings, what really it is that holds us back from who we're meant to be and what we're here to do, is what other people think. And gosh, this is such like a tough one, like what are my family going to think? What will my friends think? What will, how is this going to look? And it's that whole fear of judgment, right? It's that fear of, what are people going to think? And I just want to challenge you to really, take that on. Take on that thought. Like, how am I being in this moment? And am I making this choice? Am I making this decision from a place of fear or from a place of love? And for me, obviously, fear is in the head and love is in the heart. And, in the head is where we worry about what people think, is where we worry about making a mistake, making the wrong choice. And so I would even argue, and I'm using myself as an example here, and this is in my experience. When I'm in a space of worrying about what people think, and we're human, guys, we're absolutely human beings. So this is something that every single one of us has to deal with in our lives, right? We worry, we want to be liked. I mean, that's societally, that's how we're raised to fit in, to be liked, to, meld in with the wallpaper and make sure that you are part of the clan, But arguably, if we can get a hold of this, if we can really get a hold of this whole thought of worrying about what people think and understanding that in that moment of whether you're making some decision, you're trying to figure out, your next move with a relationship, with a situation, with a job opportunity, whatever it is. If all these things are coming up for you, that what if, my family doesn't like it, or what if there's this conflict, or what if I, as I said, do something I regret. I want you to think about that. It might be this exact moment where something big is right around the corner, where a transformation, where, a real movement out of what you've been missing in your life is about to show up when you just push through, when you just say, I'm not going to give up on me. I don't know what this looks like, but I am going to take the road less traveled. I am going to go down the narrow path, because the narrow path is what is for me. It's where I'm going to unlock this next level of greatness. And that's been my experience when I'm really in my head, when I'm really thinking about, what are people going to think? What is this going to look like? And let me tell you, I'm writing a book right now, which is, gosh, probably the most vulnerable I may ever get in my life. And anybody out there who's written a book, I'm sure you can relate to this. When you're writing a book, you're living the book. You're literally living the book. And I'm writing this book about, my life, my experiences, but it's really a love story. It's really about, well, I hope, my intention is for it really to help others to sort of see a whole nother level of freedom and peace for themselves. And how can you do that? How can you access that? And this is so triggering for me. It's so triggering for me. It's bringing up every fear of what people think and who's going to read it and will anybody read it. And it was this sort of light bulb where I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like this is one of those moments where if I can just break through this, if I can just for once say to myself, I have the authority to write this book. I have the experience and I'm prepared and I have the confidence to do this in the most integral and responsible way I can. And if nobody reads it, nobody reads it, and that's okay. And so I just think that when we are faced with this negative self-talk, this, I'm not enough, I don't have the skills, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna fail, all the things. I want you to stop and think that maybe this is exactly a moment where you're going to have a transformation to the next level. That there's something so big, and that's been my experience, that there's something so big when we start to really worry about all these. I know they mean something, and I know they're big, and I know they're taking up so much space in your heart and your head, but they really are nothing. Like, what if you thought for 1 second that all these people that you worry about what they think of you, that they're in their own struggles, right? That they're in their own stuff, that they're dealing with their own demons and negative words and negative thoughts. So just surrender it, I think, is really what I would love for each and every one of you, is to just, a lot of people will say to me, because in my coaching with my team, and I'll say, why don't you try this, or why don't you do this? And they would say, I'm trying. And I honestly believe, like, we've got to get rid of that word, trying. What does that even mean? I'm trying. We don't have all the answers, guys. Surrender. Be aware that it's happening. Be aware that you're giving yourself an out, or you're trying to quit on yourself, or you're filled with negativity, or, you're just trying to take an easy way out, trying to stay comfortable. Have an awareness of that. And then move through it and surrender to it. Surrender. Say, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not in the how, it's in the allow. I'm going to allow this to show up in the way that it is meant to show up, and I trust. I am in full trust and full belief in myself that I am doing this in the most loving and honest ways. Hey, MK. Thank you so much for joining me on that video. If you want to see more, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit the bell so that you can get notified every time I go live and every time a new video comes up on your feed. Thank you so much. I hope you resonated with this video. I hope there is in some way that it inspired you, and I certainly hope it makes you continue to stay the course on your dreams, because you are so loved.